Now let's try to display our heroes. So first of all, let's get rid of all the other article tags that we don't need here. So let's get rid of the bottom here, all the way to almost the top. There we go. So we're down to 1. Great. And maybe just like before, let's just experiment with our v4 here. So we have to have a v-4, something and something. First of all, do we have our heroes? No, it's been commented out. Let's get it back. Great. In our export default here, we need a data. Now this is one difference using Vue components within the Vue CLI. What you need to realize is for the components part, your data has to be a function. So function, and inside that function you're returning an object, but inside that object that's where you have all your variables. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but that's so that each component can keep track of their own state. So we have that, and now and then here we can have our regular heroes kind of thing. So now Vue is aware, this component is aware of our array. So now we can say in the v4, hero in heroes, just like before. And then we also need a key, as you can see here in the error messages. So let's say :key equals, and we use the name before. So save that, and look, there's no errors. Let's see what we get. We get 6. Perfect. Okay. Now we could go ahead and change this, but I'm not going to change that just yet. I'm going to actually now use our components folder. So let's cut this out. Let's cut this article tag out. Boom. Just like last week, let's create our own Twitter short profile kind of component. Save that. Now, the only reason we can use this is because we have to first create the component here. So legally we can't do that yet. So let's define that in the components folder, create a new file. The name has to be the same thing as your custom component, except without the dashes and using capital letters for each word, for the beginning of each word. And then here, just like how last week we had view.component, we don't need view.component here. We just need the same template tag here and the script tag as well. I'm going to put the script tag up top just to keep it consistent of what we saw last week, where all the props were up top and all the templates were kind of down below. But here in the template is where you can now paste that article. Okay. However, we don't want any of the V dash and the key here. We want to move that back out. So cut that, save that, and put that back out here. And that should be the same thing. Let's see. No errors. And refresh. Oh, nothing came out. Oh, of course. You know what? Twitter short profile. Did you register the component correctly? No, we did not. We forgot to register it. So here, just like last week, we had a name, right? We had a view.component, and then we had a name. So here we have to say name, Twitter short profile. Okay, and then now that we said that, now that we're exporting that name, we can go back to our app.view, and in here in our script, we can import Twitter short profile. I know that this name has to match. If you use the dashes here, it would complain. That's why we're using the camel case here. From components / Twitter short profile.view. Okay, and then now that we've imported here, we have to then put that name inside this components section here to make app.view aware that there we go. Save that. No errors. Let's see. There. Perfect. So now we have the same thing as before. Now it's just a simple matter of changing the data points. So remember that socket and electrical cord analogy I gave, so we're doing the same thing here. So since we have hero in heroes, we'll take this hero and we'll say we're going to bind it with something called superhero, which we just made up, but this variable is going to be used within here for superhero. So superhero, plug it into our hero, right? So the object here is now going to be associated with this. So this is now aware in our component here for Twitter short profile. So we can then say here, superhero.name. Similarly, superhero.twitter. And here you need the colon or the vbind. And then superhero.pick. However, that still won't work because you need the props, just like last week. So here, props. Now, unlike last week where we used an array, we're going to use the object format here. I provided a link for you to read. Where was that link here? It was here before. Oh, it's under activity 3 for week 10, I believe. Yeah, this one here. So far we've only seen props listed as an array, but you can use it also as an object, and that's better because you can actually say what type of data you're expecting, which is good. Okay, so let's do that. So in here, we're going to say we're going to expect a superhero, which is an object. Okay, so again, the connection points, first of all, so yeah, so it works. By the way, if you see errors here, sometimes that's from the last compilation. Sometimes if you refresh, it's not there anymore. So sometimes this lies. Okay. So yeah, so the connection points is just like last week. We said v for hero in heroes. Why? Because at this app.view level or scope, it's aware of this heroes, which we've defined here. And then we said hero in that, which means that this is now each object in this array. And because now we've said that, we can now plug in that object into our component. So, and now that we've said superhero here, we can now make sure that our toaster, so to speak, is aware of what's coming in so that it can now use it.